What's up, everybody? This is Jesse Linares with the Sam Via Art Team, here today to talk about invisible layering or hidden layers. And we see a lot of techniques online being labeled this way. So today we're going to talk about we're taking an existing haircut that has a shape that we love, but that person is getting a little bit of problem getting lift and volume in the crown. So how can we get inside of an existing shape and create a new subset, a new layer on the inside that will give us that short movement that we need without affecting the exterior of the haircut, without fundamentally changing that silhouette? And we're going to do it with one of our favorite tools, our InvisiBlend Shear. Our InvisiBlend Shear comes with 23 simple teeth. Not a lot of funny business right there, just nice, simple cuts. And the blade itself is actually not sharpened. It's just highly polished and dull. So when these teeth interact with the dull blade, it acts almost like a razor, creating a very soft cut, almost like a little bit of scoop on the ends, leaving no visible line within the shape. Comes also with our double tangs, meaning that we can arrange our hand on this to hold the blades whichever way we'd like to see them oriented. If we want teeth on the bottom, then that's excellent for skimming over the surface of that short haircut. But then when we rotate or reverse the grip and put the teeth on top driving into the blade, it becomes an effective haircutting scissor. We have with us today the lovely Lydia from Pivot Point, who's always ready to help us create new shapes and talk about hair education. Truly the best mannequins on the market today, and we are proud to use them. So she has a bob, and it's a little bit heavy, she says, in the crown, and we'd like to look at a way that we can adjust that without fundamentally changing the shape. So the first thing we're going to do is isolate where the crown is so we can start to work with it. Starting at around the high point of the head and just taking a nice curved section to the center back. We're going to do this on both sides. We're left with a section that looks about like this. Now we want to randomize this section so we can start to conceal a little bit of what we're about to do and hide it in the haircut a little bit better. So we're going to take our crown section and we're going to randomize it a little bit by creating some zigzags. And we're going to do that by just taking the guide tooth of our comb, holding it a little bit like a pencil, and then just kicking the back end into the crown section and then pulling a little bit back down. And you can see that that gives us a little point there, sending some of this hair back to rejoin the bottom where it won't be cut. Have fun with it, make it random. And we're going to do this all the way around. When we get done, we should have a nice randomized crown. Make your zigzags as fine or as wide as you would prefer. The finer they are, the more subtle the result will be. The larger they are, the more of a statement you'll make. Okay, so now we're just going to take this section that we've created and split it into two halves so we can work with it. Now, as we begin to work, we're going to think about what line we could create to give us the most volume. And it causes us to think about the types of lines we use in haircutting. Vertical versus horizontal is where we're going with this. And which line creates a softer result. So we're going to take the section that we just created, and we're going to elevate it up. Oh, lost one of my zigs there. There we go. We're going to look at how we can attack this. So when we use a vertical finger position to our section, it creates, if we can see the round of the head, it creates that shape of the head reversed in the silhouette, meaning this. If I elevate this section using a vertical finger position, and if we can see that curve inside our section, if we make a straight cut, And then what's going to happen is the curve of the head is going to be somewhat closer to the cutting position in the middle of our section, and it gets longer as it moves to the exterior. That creates what sometimes people call a scoop or a sense of concavity in the silhouette. If you can see that round of the head when you cut, you're going to see it reversed in the silhouette. Now, if we switch to instead a horizontal cutting position or a finger position horizontal, and then we compress the hair across the top of the head with good tension this way, really seeing that press down there. What happens is no shorter area is created in the interior. Each hair follows the curvature of the head to reach the cutting position, and the length increases with that aspect. So we're going to use that to create a layer that has no collapsing point in the interior, but just builds volume against itself. And we're going to comb this up with good tension using the fine teeth of our comb. Bring it across the high point of the head, and you'll notice that I'm even standing on the opposite side. If this is the back corner, I'm in the front corner on the other side, and that's where I'm going to make my cut. Our shortest bit will come from the top of the section there at the high point of the head where it reaches the cutting position. We'll bring that over here. We'll make our decision and then make our cut. So I'm using the InvisiBlend shear with the teeth driving into the blade, which makes it an effective hair cutting scissor. I can park in one spot and make my cuts. So we'll cut that horizontally, but we're going to cross-check it vertically. Let's take a look. We bring this up and check it this way. We'll see right about there. You can see where the bulk kind of stops, and then our ends are left uninterrupted. So it gives us that shorter shape inside the subsection. And it builds a little bit of visible volume without dramatically changing the outside of the haircut. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So here we are looking at the section. We're going to use the fine teeth of our comb in a horizontal finger position relative to the section. We bring this up and over. And we see that good compression across the top of the head. And here we stand on the opposite side, checking our length. And then with the teeth driving into the blade, we can make our cut. It only does a small reduction, the InvisiBlend shear, so you can feel safe in delicate areas like the crown and the fringe to texturize without worrying about leaving a hard line. So once again, we get that nice buildup of volume and movement, but the essential shape of the haircut is still the same. So an invisible layer inside of an existing shape.